As of today, November has officially ended, which means we can see what games were most played on the Steam Deck during the last month. And honestly, after looking at it, this may be one of my favorite lists so far. So without any delay, here are the top 20 most played games on the Steam Deck through November 2025. And before we start, if you want to see more videos like this, hit that like and subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified as soon as our next video goes live. Coming in at number 1, we have Dispatch, which is a new superhero workplace comedy made by Ad Hoc Studio. This one kinda came out of nowhere. I expected it to be good, but I didn't expect it to be this good. You play as an ex-superhero who is brought back in to manage a dysfunctional team of misfit heroes and to strategize who you send out on certain emergencies. It's a fantastic game and it absolutely deserves this number 1 spot. It moved up about 23 spots from last month, so it basically went from off the charts to right on top. The game itself is $29.99 and rated Steam Deck verified. At number 2, we have Hades 2. The sequel to one of the best roguelike dungeon crawlers is back, and now that it's in 1.0, it has been a treat to play. Even though there have been a bunch of roguelikes that released after it, it still feels extremely solid and is one of the best purchases that you can make if you're looking for a new game to play on the Steam Deck that performs extremely well. Hades 2 was at number 2 last month, and it stayed there this month, and it is $29.99 and rated Steam Deck verified. At number 3, we have Megabonk, which is personally one of my favorite games this year. It's another roguelike that kind of feels like a balance between Risk of Rain and Vampire Survivors to create this extremely addictive experience that, honestly, I don't think any other game has come close to giving me that same feeling. If you've got an extra $10, this is going to be an extremely worthwhile purchase, and I do highly recommend it. Megabonk is at the number 3 spot, whereas last month it was at number 1, so it moved down 2 spots, and it is $9.99 and rated Steam Deck verified. At number 4, we have Ball X Pit, which is probably my favorite roguelike this year. It's essentially a combination of Galaga and Brick Breaker, so you're running around at the bottom, shooting balls up at the top to try to destroy the enemies coming down at you. You can pick up balls, you can combine them together, and there's a little bit of a town management side to the game, which allows you to get more upgrades. The game was in the same place last month at number 4, and is $14.99 and rated Steam Deck verified. At number 5, we have Stardew Valley, and I could basically go on and on about this game. If you're a fan of Harvest Moon, you're going to absolutely adore Stardew Valley, and if you're watching this video or have a Steam Deck or have been chronically playing games in the last 6-7 years, it'd be impossible not to know about Stardew Valley and the impact it's had on the indie scene. The game actually moved up 1 spot, where last month it was number 6 and now it's at number 5. It is $14.99 and rated Steam Deck verified. At number 6, we have Hollow Knight Silksong, the follow-up to one of the best Metroidvanias that has ever been created. It's still a little bit shocking to me to finally see it released. It's been so long since the original came out that a little bit of the hype has died out for me, but they came out with an incredible follow-up to, again, one of the best Metroidvanias that's ever existed, so it's definitely a worthwhile purchase. The game actually moved down a couple of spots, going from number 3 last month to number 6 this month. It's $19.99 and rated Steam Deck verified. At number 7, we have Baldur's Gate 3, and now that the Linux port is finally released, I can honestly say it deserves a spot on this list. Baldur's Gate 3 still shines with how much you can do in it, and is a really great example of how developer Larian Studios is able to create these incredible RPGs that really just feel unmatched. And with that new Linux port, it runs exceptionally well on the Steam Deck and is actually playable through the entire game, so I highly recommend checking it out. The game actually moved up 1 spot, going from number 8 last month to number 7 this month. It's $59.99 and rated Steam Deck verified. At number 8, we have Vampire Survivors, the classic Survivors game that really kicked off this genre. It's hard to dispute how impactful the game has been to a bunch of these games that not only are on this list, but have just been released in general. On top of that, they are still adding new content with tons of different collaborations and even online co-op coming to the game. It's pretty insane to see just how big the game is and how much keeps getting added to it to just keep me coming back. The game actually moved up 5 spots, going from number 13 last month to number 8 this month. It is also $4.99 and rated Steam Deck verified. At number 9, we have Balatro, the poker roguelike that I still think should have won Game of the Year last year. You're dealt a card of hands and consistently have to get the highest score possible to defeat the ante and continue going on in the game. As you continue on, you're going to get more cards, you're going to get modifiers, and you'll be able to get this insanely high score if you really play your cards right. Balatro actually moved up one spot, going from number 10 last month to number 9 this month. It is $14.99 and rated Steam Deck verified. At number 10, we have Arc Raiders, which is a multiplayer extraction that's set in a really dystopian Earth. You're going to have to go around the world scavenging to survive, and it's just insane how detailed and graphic the game is, and honestly, even with those AI voices, I'd recommend checking it out. There's a whole skill tree that's involved as well, there's miniature quests that you can find in the game, and honestly, it's just a lot of fun. Arc Raiders is brand new to this list, is $39.99 and rated Steam Deck verified. At number 11, we have the original Hades. Now, there's nothing more I can really say about it that I haven't said already with Hades 2. I mean, it's basically the same kind of gameplay, but this is what started it entirely. And it still holds up today. I mean, the gameplay is phenomenal. The story is fantastic. The voice acting is wonderful as well as, the portrait artwork. And it's really just a great roguelike to play on the go. Now, compared to last month, the game actually moved down 4 spots, going from number 7 last month to number 11 this month. It's also $24.99 and rated Steam Deck verified. At number 12, we have the original Hollow Knight. Again, one of the best Metroidvanias that's ever existed. One of the big things that drew me to this game was the incredible artwork, which feels extremely dark and moody, but still full of character and life. On top of that, the sound design is incredible, the level design is just over the moon, and it's so much fun to just run around, play, and fight. Now, compared to last month, the game actually moved down a good chunk, going from number 5 last month to number 12 this month. It is also $14.99 and rated Steam Deck verified. At number 13, we have Red Dead Redemption 2, which again is another one of those games that I usually would be a little bit worried about, but honestly, the last time I played it, it was holding up quite well. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a prequel to the original game, and you play as Arthur Morgan as an outlaw on the run. And of course, this being a Rockstar game, there is a lot of detail in the animations, the simulations, and the freedom of what you're able to do. Some of my favorite stuff in these kinds of games are playing around with the physics, and I absolutely am able to do that on my horse, roping people and throwing them to the ground. Since last month, Red Dead Redemption 2 has actually gone up by 5 spots, going from number 18 last month to number 13 this month. The game is currently on sale for $14.99, but it's going to be going back up to its MSRP price of $59.99 on December 4th. The game is also rated playable due to the launcher startup that requires a touchscreen or virtual keyboard and some small in-game text. At number 14, we have Peak, which is by far one of my favorite co-op games that I've played this year. It's a climbing game where you and your friends have to work together to climb up these ridiculous mountains in these gigantic varied biomes, and there's going to be a lot of danger that comes your way, so you're going to have to manage your stamina bar to make it to the top. Again, this was a ton of fun to play, and I remember playing it with Oliver for our review, and it was just, again, phenomenal. The game actually moved up a bunch of spots, going from off the chart completely to number 14, up by 11 spots. The game is $7.99 and is rated Steam Deck verified. At number 15, we have Cyberpunk 2077. Now, Cyberpunk has really been on the list for such a long time, but it's been a long time since I've seen it go down this far. Still, it's an incredible open-world action-adventure RPG that really takes on one of my favorite settings in any sort of video game, which is the futuristic cyberpunk world. It's extremely detailed with tons of action, and I can't recommend it enough. Compared to last month, the game actually went down 1 spot, going from number 14 last month to number 15. The game is on sale for $20.99 until December 11th before it goes back up to MSRP at $59.99. It is also rated Steam Deck verified. At number 16, we have Brotato. Again, another extremely addictive roguelike survivor-esque game where you basically just play as a potato, but the amount of weapons you can get, the way you upgrade them, the items you can get, it's insane just how much of it is all there. Brotato is honestly one of the most addictive experiences I have ever played, and I highly recommend checking it out. The game has actually not moved from its spot from last month, being at number 16, it is $4.99, and rated Steam Deck verified. At number 17, we have the iconic Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Special Edition. Now, this is another one where if you've been around and playing games, you know of Bethesda's iconic RPG. It's won tons of awards, it's extremely amazing just how much you can do in the game, and with the modding community being able to add in all these incredible mods and content, and with the community modding scene adding in tons of incredible content, new locations, weapons, spells, etc. This is a game that will last you hours and hours and hours. The game actually made its way back onto the list from last month since it wasn't there. The game is on sale right now for $9.99 until December 2nd, but then it'll go back up to MSRP at $39.99, and it's rated Steam Deck verified. At number 18, we have Hogwarts Legacy. If you're a fan of the Harry Potter series, this game should be essential for your library. This is an immersive open-world action RPG where you take control of a wizard yourself and you get to go on quests and run around Hogwarts and the wizarding world. When it comes to open-world games, this is one of my favorites so far, and I honestly recommend checking it out if you're a fan of these kinds of games. Compared to last month, Hogwarts Legacy actually moved down 3 points, going from number 15 to number 18. The game is also on sale for $8.99 until December 8th before it goes back up to MSRP at $59.99, and it's rated Steam Deck verified. At number 19, we have Fallout 4, which again is another Bethesda RPG that feels pretty iconic. There have been some controversies going around with the game, especially when it comes to the modding community, but that doesn't change that Fallout 4 is still a solid game, and if you can find it for a pretty cheap price, it's definitely worth your time. Now, the game was not on the list last month, so it moved up about 4 points to number 19. It is also $7.99 until December 2nd before it goes back up to MSRP at $19.99, and it's rated Steam Deck verified. Finally, at number 20, we have The Binding of Isaac Rebirth, which was really one of the first roguelike games that I ever played and truly enjoyed. You run around as a child who is thrown into a dungeon by his mother, and you have to fight these weird beasts with your tears. There's a ton of secrets to discover, there's a ton of characters to unlock, there's a ton of upgrades to find, and there are some free patches and DLC that expand it even further. This is a bit of an old game, originally coming out in 2014, but it still holds up today and is still very much worth your time. Now, the game was not on the list last month, so it made its way back up to the list by going up 1 point. It is $14.99 and rated Steam Deck verified. And those are the top 20 games of this month. Now, if you look at the screen, you can see the new games added for this month and the games that left this month, with the new games starting off with Dispatch and Arc Raiders, and the games that left from last month coming from Digimon Story Time Stranger and Clover Pit. This list was taken from the Steam chart that is through November 1st to November 30th. But you can still check out the chart for yourself, even though the dates have changed a little bit, over on Steam's website, or you can take a look at the list for yourself over on our website, where we have everything listed for you. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like and subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified as soon as our next video goes live. And a huge thank you to our patrons. You guys are awesome. See you next time.